Excuse me. Hello and welcome to first of two videos dealing with the first of the four P's of the marketing mix that we're going to discuss. So pretty much the remainder of the videos in this course will deal with the marketing mix. First component we're going to look at is product. Got two videos that I'll record. This one, the current one that we're doing now, will deal with product concepts, and then the second one will look at various issues with respect to product management. So this lecture on product concept will do several things. First, we'll define what's meant by a product, provide a definition, not the definition. There's a lot of definitions of product out there. We'll also talk about the types of consumer products, and again, we're going to focus on consumer products as opposed to business products because we're all consumers. We all purchase things at one time or another as individuals or households. So again, just like the focus in consumer behavior was on individuals and households, the focus here will be on consumer products. We'll also briefly look at the product line, product mix concept, and we'll finish up by talking a little bit about branding, an important product-related concept. So let's jump into this and let's define what's meant by a product and a definition of a product. And here's my handy dandy glasses. A definition of product is anything of value to a customer that can be obtained through an exchange. So again, anything of value to a customer that can be obtained through an exchange. So there's a lot of different things that qualify as products. There are goods, which are very tangible kinds of things. So here's my little computer mouse. That would be a good, right? There are services. Many of you are, or a number of you are accountancy majors, and reading your bios, it indicates that a number of you are taking 150 credits so that you can sit for the CPA exam, and the CPA would be an example of a service. Places can also be considered a product. If you think about Florida has an extensive amount of promotion just related to, come and visit Florida, or more specifically, you might visit Disney World, so there's a lot of different things that qualify as a product. It's not just goods. And when I go back to my, oh God, he's going to talk about when he took his principles of marketing. Yeah, when I took my principles of marketing course almost 40 years ago, the focus was primarily on goods, and there was kind of a grudging admiration. Yeah, there were these things called services, and God forbid that you would talk about marketing things such as people or places or anything like that. So a product, again, anything of value to a consumer that can be obtained through an exchange. And let's look at let's discuss the four types of consumer products that exist. And the reason that it's important to understand these different kinds of consumer products is that these products have distinct marketing implications. You don't market these things the same way. Now, while that may seem like common sense, a lot of times it's much easier to apply a one-size-fits-all mentality, but unfortunately the one-size-fits-all mentality sometimes leaves you either overserved or underserved. Okay, so again, the importance of understanding, these different types of products is because of the ways that you would, market them. All right, so the first type of product is what's called an unsought product. And an unsought product can be defined as a product that either a customer doesn't know about or doesn't want. And you go, ooh, doesn't know about. Well, how can a product exist if somebody doesn't know about it? Well, there are a lot of products out there that exist that people don't know about, and there are also products out there that exist that people don't want. And so you can kind of see that a challenge for marketers is, how do you market these products? How do you market products that either people don't know about or they don't want? And you say, well, could you be a little more specific? Sure. one of the things with respect to don't want, there's a fruit, prunes, right? Prunes have a horrible reputation, and a lot of people don't want anything to do with prunes. So if you're a marketer, you go, okay, so what are we going to do? How are we going to market prunes? And literally one of the suggestions a few years ago with respect to prunes was, why don't we change the name? um, because people have just grown up, particularly in the United States. That's the only thing I can relate to. Basically, prunes just have this horrible image, and so literally one of the thoughts was, why don't we change the name of the product? And through time, people will call prunes something else, and it won't carry all that negative baggage. So you've got what are known as unsought products. People don't know about them. People don't want them. You say, well, what could people not know about? For a long time, people didn't know that pet insurance existed. Pet insurance now is maybe not a real popular product, much more popular than it was when I first started using it as an example, maybe 15 years ago. Okay, so unsought products. There are also what are known as convenience products, and these are products that are purchased frequently, immediately, and with a minimum of purchasing effort. Right? They tend to be put in a lot of places. Right? So the products that you're going to be looking at, for example, for your big written assignment that's due on July 27th, they are convenience products. And so you think of something like bread. You can buy bread like in a lot of different places, and most people don't spend a lot of time thinking about, oh my God, should I buy this brand of bread? Should I buy this brand of bread? Should I buy this size of bread, or should I buy this size of bread? Should I buy wheat bread? Should I buy, so there's not a lot of thought that goes into it. So again, you've got convenience products, which are those that are purchased frequently, immediately, and with a minimum of purchasing effort, and they tend to be placed in a lot of places. So there's the marketing angle with convenience products. Shopping products are defined as products that where people compare prices, quality, style, and other features. And maybe the best example of a shopping product that I can give is if you go to a mall, and you go, who goes to a mall anymore? Now that's a good point, right? But if you go to a mall, malls tend to have a number of different shoe stores, and so shoes would be a really good example in many cases of a shopping product. So you go to one store and you're looking at maybe a certain type of brand, a certain type of style. You go to another shoe store, you may look at the same brand, you may look at a different brand, but the same style. So again, shopping products refer to those where consumers compare prices, quality, style, and other factors, right? For example, do they have a warranty? Does the product have a warranty? And then the fourth kind of consumer product is what's known as a specialty good, or specialty product, excuse me. And these are items for which a customer is willing to look for a specific brand. So again, this is where a customer is willing to look for a specific brand. So you say, So you go, I wonder what would qualify as a specialty product. Well, there's different potential examples of a specialty product. So Godiva chocolates might be an example of a special. Yes, I want chocolates, but I want Godiva chocolates, and I'm going to make, in some cases, a special purchasing effort in order for me to be able to get Godiva chocolates. And one of the things that often is associated with specialty products is that if you think about, if somebody's willing to look for a specific brand, and if somebody's willing to make a special purchasing effort, as a marketer, as an organization, you can generally charge higher prices, right? Aha. So there we go. And you go, now you may start to think back to, when we talked about the segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Do we have the ability to position our brand so that people look for it specifically and maybe make special purchasing efforts, and then that allows us to, as I said before, to offer a higher price for the particular product. All right, so we've had a brief discussion of different types of consumer products. Next thing we're going to look at is the product mix, product line, or product mix issue. And so a product line, in this A definition, again, there's not, this is one of the fascinating things about marketing, is that there's these concepts out there, and there's definitions of these concepts, and the definitions tend to be very similar, but they're not identical. So here's a definition of a product line. Pardon me while I read this. a set of items that are related because they function in a similar manner and are sold in similar places. So there are a set of items that are related because they function in a similar manner and are sold in similar places. So for an example, and an example that I've liked to use for a long time is if you think Procter & Gamble, Procter & Gamble is a major consumer goods company that's headquartered down in Cincinnati in Ohio. Procter & Gamble has all sorts of laundry detergents that it offers. And so, for example, Tide is probably the classic, but it also offers Cheer and Bold and several others. So you would say that you know laundry detergents could qualify as a product line, a set of items that are related because they function in a similar manner and sold in similar places, right? Product mix, which is an expansion of the concept, refers to all the products and all the product lines that are offered by an organization. So product mix refers to all the products and all the product lines. So if you start to think about Procter & Gamble, Procter & Gamble just doesn't offer laundry detergents, but Procter & Gamble also, if you think about it, they offer shampoos, they offer other kinds of beauty products, and so you start to see kind of an expansion of what Procter & Gamble offers. And yes, they offer disposable diapers. They're well known for Pampers, for example. So the product mix would look at all the different product lines as well as all the products, because there are several concepts associated with the product mix that we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about. So the first concept is what's known as breadth, or product mix breadth, and that refers to the number of different product lines that an organization offers. And there's no right or wrong way of determining what a product line is. Procter & Gamble has gone through a number of iterations in recent years, and it doesn't, quite honestly, it doesn't consider laundry detergents a product line. It considers laundry detergents part of a broader product line. Regardless, product breadth refers to the number of different product lines that an organization offers. So if you're looking at a Procter & Gamble and you're looking at laundry detergents and you're looking at household items and you're looking at beauty products and you're looking at baby products, those, you would have breadth there because you have several different product lines. There's also depth. So you've got the product mix breadth, which goes out like this. Product mix depth refers to, okay, so what are we doing in terms of the products that we have in the product line? So the depth refers to the variety of sizes, colors, and models in a product line. So if you were just to look, if you were to go to, let's say, the Tide website for Procter & Gamble, and if you were to look at the number of different types of Tide that Procter & Gamble offers. It offers powder, it offers liquid, it offers different sizes, it offers different, I won't call it flavors, but it offers different scents, different combinations. You might have Tide with Febreze, which is another Procter & Gamble product. You might have Tide with something else. Right, Tide with Bounce, excuse me, that's another Procter & Gamble product. So you got all these combinations, and so for something like Tide, right, something like laundry detergents, there'd be a tremendous amount of product mix depth with respect to Procter & Gamble. And then the third concept, so the first concept we talked about with respect to product mix was the breadth, how many products do we have in a product line. Then we talked about depth, how many different variations are there, variety, sizes, scents, things of that nature. And then the third thing is consistency, and basically is the relatedness of the different product lines. How well do they fit together? So if you start looking at the different product lines that an organization has, are they available in the same types of outlets? Right. So, I know of back when I was, getting my MBA, organizations had a whole different concept of what they wanted to do with their product mix. They wanted to have product mixes that just didn't make a lot of sense from a consistency perspective. So you might have something that would be primarily sold in a hardware store, and then you might have something that would be sold in like a mass merchandiser like a Walmart or something like that. And so there wouldn't be overlap in terms of the kinds of places where you could sell the product. And that becomes important. You know, I'm a logistics guy. That becomes important because when you've got all these different kinds of places where you're sending product, that creates opportunities for damage, error. Maybe you can't build the volumes to get lower transportation rates. So again, consistency is the relatedness of the different product lines. How well do they fit together? Okay. So we've defined product, we've talked about the 4 types of consumer products, we've looked a little bit at product mix and product lines, and what we'll end up looking at or discussing here is the concept of branding. And a brand refers to a name, a term, design, or symbol that identifies a product. Okay, so a brand refers to a name, a term, a design, or symbol that identifies a product. So if you think of McDonald's, McDonald's is a name, but a lot of times when you think of McDonald's, you think of the Golden Arches, right? You say, oh, yeah, I got that. A lot of people, you know, you might have Goodyear tires. People think of not only Goodyear, the tire, but they think of the Goodyear blimp, right? So that's part of the brand as well. So again, a name, a term, design, or symbol that identifies a product. And one of the reasons that brands are you know, such a big deal is that they offer value for both the buyer as well as the seller. They offer value from the buyer in the sense that brands, particularly brand names, can reduce the dissonance associated with purchasing a product. So if you're, you know, if you're sitting and you're saying, oh my God, I need a washing machine, which many of you probably don't need a washing machine, but if you're, you know, when you start your own household and you say, we need a washing machine, you know, some people feel much more comfortable with, let's say, having a Whirlpool washing machine or a Maytag washing machine than something that might not have the same brand cachet. The other side of the coin is there's value for the sellers because a lot of times when you look at names, terms, designs, or symbols, you will see some little lettering like TM or R or C or something like that, right? The TM means trademark, the R means registered, the C means copyrighted, right? There's legal protection. Okay, so from the seller's perspective, there's legal protection when it comes to the brand. Couple other things that we want to talk about with respect to brand is the brand ownership concept, what are known as the manufacturer brands. That would be the Whirlpools, the General Electrics, the Black & Deckers, right? The Procter & Gambles of the world versus what are known as private brands that may carry a retailer's name. And the private labels are often made by manufacturers, but they don't carry the manufacturer's name. So you know, and you say, well, why wouldn't a manufacturer want to sell all of the manufacturer's products under the manufacturer's names? So let's take washing machines for example. So I did some consulting for a white goods manufacturer, white goods being things like appliances, right? I did some consulting for a white goods manufacturer, and it had a name brand that everybody would recognize, but it also manufactured brands that were sold at Sears. Sears, when you look at Sears appliances are often made by Whirlpool. And they wouldn't be sold under the Whirlpool name. They would be sold under the Kenmore name, and that's, you know, the like Kenmore washers and dryers and things like that. And the reason that a manufacturer wants to do that or would do that, even though they're not selling it under the manufacturer's name, is that people have different price points. You know, you tend to pay more for the name for the manufacturer brand, right? And so there are distinct price points out there. So if you can get a washing machine that's made by a name brand manufacturer, but it doesn't carry the name brand manufacturer's name, you'll pay maybe $200 less for that than you would if you bought the you know, manufacturer name brand product. Okay, so brand ownership. And then one final thing that we'll finish up the lecture with is the concept of brand extension, and that refers to extending the brand name or applying the brand name to different product lines. And an example of this would be, Nike started out making running shoes, and then Nike went into running gear. So you not only had Nike running shoes, you had Nike running gear. And then you can buy Nike golf equipment now. And so that would be referred to as brand extension, where you take your brand name and you take it from the original product line or product lines and you add it to other product lines. Better stop. I'm at 20. Bye.